the major shortcoming in all of Gary's orientation, and I'm starting to notice it in yours too, is that you suffer from a kind of radical, I guess, empiricist skepticism.
Yeah, I do enjoy a thorough skepticism. Now, you could call it radical if you want, but all I'm saying is that there is no metaphysical. It was radical to think that up, but you don't really consider that radical because it just sort of naturally occurred. Now, is it politically radical? Maybe, but is it radical in any other sense? No, because all of the ideas and concepts that we have come up with, you or me or anybody, can all be told in terms of our experiences. All I'm saying is that this is the perspective. Hey, this is where we're getting it. Because we've been getting it from perspectives, from perceptions all along, and unconsciously. And always we're doing, in my view, is making it more conscious. And so I'm not saying your ideas have to be thrown out. I'm saying, listen, when you believe the law of cause and effect, or that there's a kind that's an apple, or a kind that's an orange, or a kind that's a lemon, or is a lemon, there is citrus different from apple, or you can break these things down. You can find identity in groups of things, and you can find identity, only in groups of things, because everything is a group or a system. So you always find identities that can be broken down, and this is the essential issue of degrees. And I'm not talking about information theory in terms of breaking something down into an image of itself. I'm talking about the apple itself. It has an evolutionary incremental connection to every other living thing around it. And so that is more what I'm saying. And I think, obviously, that this is correctly characterizing that one aspect. I'm now focusing on one aspect, and you're still saying that you haven't heard anything that you believe in my characterization. Do you deny that that is an aggrandizement of humans? Because that's what a superlative among superlatives sounds like.
The major shortcoming in all of Gary's orientation, and I'm starting to notice it in yours too, is that you suffer from a kind of radical, I guess, empiricist skepticism, in the same way that he seems to have some kind of evolutionary biological reductionism. That is, both of you seem to be denying the problem of difference that emerges in history and the difference that those differences make. I'm sorry, but all reality, you could say that all reality is quarks, but these are my glasses, this is my pen. I can't use my pen to see with in the same way that I can use my glasses. Now, there seems to be a difference of kind here, even though there really is just a difference of degree. It has to do with organization of material components. And yes, it is all material, but to simply suggest that there are not forms or types.
Okay, there are forms and types. I'm just saying that sounds pretty arbitrary, that description you give, right? That's pretty arbitrary definition of types. It's like, yes, everything is in degrees, but, I use this for one thing or another. Right, and so, if something is to hammer nails with, then its type is a tool. But if somebody uses it to kill somebody, then its type is a weapon. That's the arbitrary part, okay? But it's material part in the world of relationships. And that's why I go with degrees, because it's not just degrees in this stacking of more and less, but it's also every kind of relationship. That's a specific kind of relationship. This quantity between how big the group is, what the group's shape is, okay? I don't say there's no forms or no kind, because, yeah, there are those things. And they're cognitive things that we use to do approximations. It's optimization on the true answer, which is degrees. And therefore, when we get really picky down into the narrow, we're not talking about going to the supermarket and deciding what to shop with. This is the most highly grained thinking we can do. That's our goal. When we're trying to say, listen, things are getting confusing at the level we're thinking about them, then we break them down into these degrees and gradations, and more broadly, into the relationships that all of these parts have materially. Okay? And so, I'm not going, the communication side of this is, listen, I ask for clarification, and then when I don't get any clarifications, I just characterize and respond to the characterization. You can still correct the characterization. All right. And then I also have asked these questions and made these points. And this is not a point that you can't understand or that I'm misattributing to you. There might be other things. You seem a bit confused to me about believing in embodied mind and quoting that Nietzsche essay, when in fact you're still trying to preserve some kind of essential idea for forms. I don't know where that essential ideas would come from. You say not everything's quarks, but everything is material. Well, I mean, quarks is just a metaphor. We don't know what this stuff really is. We know it behaves like a model that we call a quark right now, okay? But in that sense, that it's quarks or whatever quarks turn out to be, why are you saying it is that but it isn't that? You're still trying to preserve some sort of world of forms. And I preserve that world of forms. I say the world of forms is a mental world, that we use a material representational machine. And this is the interesting thing, the representationalism, the inherent metaphor in universe. Fascinating stuff. But they're not fundamental. And why does it matter? I'm saying you can use it, but they're not fundamental. Well, because you're making an argument that if you realize that forms always break down to degrees, then you can't make that one argument, because you use forms for an argument a little bit below the level in which they can operate. That's and I don't think that I'm misattributing ideas to you when I think that you're aggrandizing the human species condition, or whatever you want to call it.
That emerges in history and the difference that those differences make. We're sorry.